Visit us on the World Wide Web at www.hamburg.mi.us. Channel 191, Hamburg Township Television.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you all to this special meeting of the Hamburg Township Board of Trustees, public hearing, Island Shore Drive, second public hearing on the Road Maintenance Special Assessment District, June the 6th, 2017, 2 p.m. Will you please rise and join us in a pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Clerk Dolan, will you please call the roll of the board?
Clerk Dolan present. Trustee Hahn?
Here.
Supervisor Hall?
Here.
Trustee Keebley?
Here.
Trustee Menzies?
Here.
Treasurer Negri is absent. Trustee Nielsen?
Here.
With that, we'll have the opening call to the public. This call to the public is not for the SAD. That's the topic of the meeting, so anybody wanting to address the board will do that at a different time, but anyone wishing to address the board on anything other than the Special Assessment District is asked to please do so at this time. You'll need to approach the microphone. We will need your name and your address. You'll be given 3 minutes, and your topic may or may not be added to this or a future agenda item of the board. Yes.
I'm waiting till Steve finishes. The last page of the packet I think you need to look at before we get started. It's an order from the Michigan Supreme Court to hold my property and issues regarding my property in abeyance until the Supreme Court has ruled on my civil case. Anything that this board does this evening will be a violation of this court order. Tomorrow, or possibly Monday, if this court does ignore this court order, my attorney has been instructed to go to the circuit court, file papers, asking for an injunction because the Hamburg Township Board has violated this court order, and that the SAD district does involve my property. My property cannot be involved in anything, zero, until that case has been decided. You all have a copy of the order. It was issued on May the 2nd. Therefore, I'm giving you notice right now. You take any affirmative action to approve this district, you will be in violation of the Supreme Court order.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board? Being no one, we'll now move on to the correspondence. Anything, Mike?
I have nothing.
Okay, we'll now move on to the approval of the agenda. The only item on the agenda is the Island Shore Schlenker Drive second public hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Nielsen, moved by Dolan. Discussion? All those in favor, please.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. With that, we'll have the opening call, or we'll have the call to the public after Brittany gives us an update on the district. Brittany, any changes?
No, there are no changes. I'll just go quickly through it. Today's meeting is called the hearing of assessment. The purpose of the meeting is to allow property owners to voice their objection to the assessment if they wish to submit an appeal to the Michigan Tax Tribunal on Lansing. Owners must submit their appeal within 30 days from the date when the assessment rules adopted by the Township Board. If adopted today, the deadline would be July 6th in order to do so. The estimated assessment to renew or to establish this SAD is $378.85 per parcel. This amount will be assessed on a winter tax bill that goes out December 1st of 2017. The road maintenance service contracts were sent out for bid. The lowest bidders were Myers Excavating for road grading, drywall installation, snow removal, and sanding. and big varnish for dust control spray. Recommendations for the new 2-year service contracts that will run from June 7th of 2017 to June 6th of 2019 has been forwarded to the Township Board for their action at the next regular meeting. We bid this out every 2 years to ensure that the residents receive competitive pricing and also that you are satisfied with the contractor services. And again, the board will review this matter and pass or not pass a resolution to not be acceptable or the service contract for their meeting scheduled this afternoon. There are 2 letters of objection that Carol must read into the minutes, so I'm asking now the supervisor to do that.
I'll open the public hearing. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the board is asked to please do so. Come to the microphone. We just need your name and address. First of all, I'll read an email from Andrew Bostry. I'm writing to protest my entry on the roll for the special assessment. My address is 4633 East M36. While our undeveloped lot is adjacent to Island Shore, our driveway goes directly onto M36. We do not use or access Island Shore. I'm in Chicago on June the 6th. I'm unable to attend the public hearing in person. Thus, I'm submitting my written objection for inclusion on the roll. Please let me know if there's anything else that needs to be done to preserve my objection to inclusion on the roll, or for any other further information you may need to try to resolve this. Regards, Andrew Bostry. We also have a letter from Susan Hancock. Dear Township Board of Trustees, I'm writing again regarding a parcel of property I own adjacent to 5100 Island Shore Drive, parcel 1522-101-048. The subdivision is pursuing a special assessment district for purpose of road maintenance of Island Shore Drive and Schlenker Road. I object to inclusion of parcel 1522-101-048 in the SAD. This parcel is a swamp, has steep banks, and is unbuildable. Pursuant to Public Act 188 of 1954 as amended, this property would receive no benefit from a road maintenance special assessment. I have another parcel of property, 5100 Island Shore Drive, and I have no problem with this parcel being in the SAD despite the fact that road maintenance encroaches into this parcel of property, as I do receive some benefit even though I only use the road for 2 months a year. You have suggested I combine the 2 parcels. I do not wish to do this, as I am pursuing a donation of parcel 1522-101-048 to a local land conservation organization, and this would complicate the process. This swamp parcel should be preserved because it is special, having springs and flowing water that feed into Oneida Lake. The swamp is instrumental to the health of the lake and provides a beautiful, open, unbuildable space for wildlife and people of the subdivision to benefit everyone on the lake. Regardless of the possible donation, I believe it is unfair to include parcel 1522-101-048 in the SAD, and I object to this decision. I again respectfully request that the Board of Trustees consider this new information and remove this parcel from the Special Assessment District. At this time, sincerely, Susan Hancock, and it has her address in Texas. With that, anyone else wish to comment to the Board?
Mary Ann Lampkin, 4855 Island Shore Drive, and I'm also the property owner at 4887 Island Shore Drive. The memo that I have turned over to you, 13 and a half pages, is an outline of all of the illegal occurrences with regard to the setting up of the SAD. It is prepared for the purpose of informing you of exactly what you all have been doing in violation of the statute. This memo will be part of the request for an investigation and a complaint that this board has been participating in a political conspiracy to extort money from the property owners, the true property owners of Island Shore Drive, not the ones that call themselves Island Shore Drive, which legally they're considered Lakeview Drive. This particular memo is really targeted at the fact that this is not an assessment. There is no such thing as a special assessment for private roads. So apparently, Hamburg Township for years has been in violation of PA 188. And I set forth all the criteria for which I make this statement. Island Shore Drive, number 1, is not a road. Number 2, it's not a private road. It's not a private easement. It's not a private right-of-way. It's private real estate. And it has been historically taxed and assessed as such since I own the property, and probably long before that. So it's difficult to understand how the Township Board can take an actual true assessment of real estate and then arbitrarily describe it and call it a legal road. By definition, a private road would mean that I would not have individual ownership of it. It would mean that there is some kind of a collective relationship with everyone else who has the same kind of real estate that holds a certain strip of land that incorporates a roadbed. It is not a private road, therefore. You, the Hamburg Township Board of Trustees, are hereby given notice that any action taken to approve the establishment of an illegal special assessment district under PA 188 of 1954 as amended will constitute a fraud for the purposes of extorting money under false pretenses. You, the duly elected officials of Hamburg Township Board of Trustees, took an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the state. Therefore, any official action taken by Hamburg Township Board of Trustees to illegally establish the special assessment district entitled Island Shore Drive, Schlenkerd Road, Roads Maintenance Special Assessment District shall be considered an act of malfeasance in office and as well as a direct violation of your respective oaths of office. For your information, malfeasance in office or official misconduct is the commission of unlawful act done in an official capacity which affects the performance of your official duties. Malfeasance in office is often grounds for the cause of removal of an elected official by statute and by recall. Now, understanding that you continually want to call Island Shore Drive a private road, let us review for the record what the Public Improvement Statute 188, 1954 says. Provides for the construction and improvement and maintenance of private roads. That statute does not provide for the construction, improvement, and maintenance of private easements, right-of-ways, private driveways, or private property used for vehicular travel. That distinction should be clear here. That's exactly what each one of us of the Thomas Sheehan property owners have. Real estate that's used for vehicular travel that does not equate to a private road. Public Act 188 of 1954 as amended and known as the Public Improvement Act is being illegally used to establish an illegal special assessment district by knowingly, deliberately, and intentionally declaring that Island Shore Drive is a private road, and in doing so, with the unambiguous understanding there is no legal or recorded instrument that declares or ever declared Island Shore Drive to be a lawful private road. Officially and legally, the statute provides for private construction, improvement, and or maintenance of legally recognized private roads. All other construction, improvement, or maintenance recognized in the statute involves public improvement. As the title makes clear, it's a public improvement statute. There is absolutely no substantial or reasonable proportionality between the amount being assessed against the Thomas Sheehan grantee's property and the proposed improvement to revise Katie's Point Comfort subdivision roads or the supervisor's plat of Island Shore Drive or Island Lake Shore subdivision roads. Both private road subdivisions dead end into their respective subdivisions, and neither private road is needed by any of the grantees of Thomas Sheehan to require the use of their roads in order to ingress or egress to and from their respective parcels or to access the main roadway. Very simply, not one of Thomas Sheehan's grantee parcels require any use of either of those two private roads. Hence, any maintenance of costs attributed to the subdivision's private roads is a fraud being perpetrated on each and every grantee who received a conveyance from the Thomas Sheehan's original 40-acre parcel. The Island Shore Drive Schlinkard Road Maintenance Special Assessment District is a fraud that is being established to extort the money. Maintenance costs for 2 private subdivision roads under false pretenses. In addition, in the case of a special assessment district, the geography rather than the value, understand this please, is the first determinant. Properties to be specially assessed must lie within the boundaries of a specific geographic area. We are not in a subdivision. We're not legally attached to a subdivision. We are independently owned private meets and bounds properties. There is no geographical relationship to those subdivisions and us. Further, the facts must include whether the proposed properties receive a special, unique, and direct benefit. The direct benefit is especially critical in the apportionment of costs being made against the properties lying within a special assessment district. The Supreme Court of Michigan ruled accordingly in Lawrence versus the City of Grand Rapids. All these cases are available if you'd like me to make copies for you, because there's several in here. Further, the unique, specific, direct increase in value, understand this, of each property shall receive a benefit under Michigan's law and the court decisions thereof. An increase in the specific property's market value must be measured and factual. The Michigan Supreme Court ruled accordingly in Cadsban versus the City of Granville, Crampton versus Royal Oak. Both of these cases make clear what is the benefit and clarified and defined the benefit, the specific and direct benefit for each parcel identified in that geographic area to be considered, quotes, a special assessment district. Now, I'd like to make this clear so that we don't misunderstand. There is no special assessment going on here in this process. None. When Pat Holt put together his petition of certification, he continued to refer to the amounts and costs as assessments. When did you create that special assessment role? Did it go to the assessor for their review before you certified it? I think not, because private roads don't get an evaluation of an increase in value for a maintenance district. Do you understand that? There is no evaluation made that increases the value, the market value on any property inside this district, and that's what a special assessment district does. If you're going to say it's a special assessment district, then you better follow the criteria, the legal, lawful, court-recognized criteria for establishing a special assessment district, which means the only way you can set one up is if you prove there has been an increase to the market value of the property involved. Did you do that? No. No. Because it's not a special assessment district. It's a contractual relationship between a person providing a service to render for a fee. It's not an assessment district. It's a contractual relationship, and it's not with you. It's us and the contractor. He generates a bill for costs, not assessments, not increases to the market value of our property. The cost of the service and the materials. So, we are not dealing with a special assessment district. The establishment of the boundaries of the designated geographic area shall identify the benefiting properties. You did it. You wrote them all down by tax code, but you failed the first of the critical elements for establishing benefit. What did I say? The geographic area. We're not a subdivision with private roads. We're private property with real estate that receives vehicle travel. And if you think that there isn't a difference between that and a private road, perhaps you might want to peruse the Michigan Vehicle Code that talks about roads, systems of roads, definitions of kinds of roads. And in the definition section, you will find private real estate used for vehicular travel. It's not a road, it's not a right-of-way, it's not an easement, it's private real estate that services vehicle travel. Do you get that? Is that becoming clear to everyone on the board? Well, from your looks at your faces, you don't really care. Casbon versus Granville said, the court ruled, we declare the test for determining the validity of a special assessment. In earlier Court of Appeals opinions suggested that there are three alternative bases for what would support a finding a special benefit sufficient enough to justify a special assessment. Now, this is not me saying this. This is the court, the Supreme Court. Then under Dixon Road Group versus the City of Novi, the court ruled that there must be, understand this, it's a shall, mandatory, be sole, specific, unique benefits for the levy of a special assessment. The benefit must be based upon an increase in market value. That's right out of those two court cases. So, if you're telling me you're setting up a special assessment district and I'm asking you, was there a special assessment role created and measured benefits based upon an increase of the market value, my guess is I'm right in saying you didn't do it because you didn't need to do it. Further.
One moment. I appreciate your input. There's 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left of what?
Of this meeting before we start a regular board meeting.
Well, that's not my problem. You only gave us a half hour. But this is a public hearing, and I am sharing all of my objections. These are going to relate to criminal charges, and I want my statements on the record.
Marianne, that's fine. But I will recess this meeting and we will reconvene it after our regular.
Yeah, you lied to me the last time, Hole.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You adjourned right on top of me. I'm not going to leave the podium until I finish my comments at the public hearing.
Move along.
Thank you.
Let other people comment.
Further.
I have some comments.
Further, term benefit takes on three historically identifiable forms in a special assessment process. This is really critical because we're dealing with maintenance, not improvement, not construction. So number one is relief from the burden. What burden is out there that's causing the problem and in need of a special assessment district? Second, the adaptability of the land. Can the land be fixed through a special assessment district? Flooding, need of a drain from the county, etc. The last one, increase in the market value. Does the special assessment district proposal literally increase the market value of the property? Private roads don't see an increase. Why? Because maintenance stabilizes the current market value of the proposed property. It stabilizes it, just like maintenance. It stabilizes when you paint or side your house. So what we're dealing with of the three forms is an increase in burden. We don't have any burden. Ergo, you can't put a special assessment district on us. Further, the appointments or apportionments to benefiting properties may use any of the number of methodologies. Whichever methodology is employed shall follow the legal, legislative, and state agency guidelines and shall meet certain tests if challenged. Because in the two different forms of assessment, you have a special assessment district and you have the ad valorem special assessment district. Are you all familiar with that? You know, the one where we have to go to the board to review? Mr. Holt made a big mistake in his memo. There is no trip to the tax tribunal board for Susan Hancock or anybody else in a special assessment district. They go directly to the circuit court. They don't go to the tax tribunal. If you do, they tell you you're in the wrong place. Ad valorem special assessment deal with the constitutionality. They go to the tax tribunal, which is what you do when you send out your tax bill on our property on the assessment. We get to come to the board to review, and if we're not happy, we go to the tax tribunal board. And it says that right in the statute that Mr. Holt misquoted. If we object and you pass this so-called special assessment district, our only recourse, according to the statute, is circuit court, Mr. Holt. No, and will you stop bugging me?
Excuse me, Marianne, you will address your comments.
Well, then you can tell her to shut up. She's out of order.
Marianne, you are out of order.
No, I'm not.
Continue your presentation, we'll move on.
All right.
You've got 2 minutes before we recess.
There are two general forms of special assessment. You got the special assessment district that deals with an increase of market value. And that means that if there is a charge to be made, the government uses to recover the public costs. Now who's being rude?
You guys want to continue with this? You want to go on this board
So
meeting?
here's the only issue, is if we recess and reconvene the issue, I mean, I don't think we can take it.
Work it on our board meeting, but we can't make a decision. at the
Right,
board meeting.
because we have to reconvene the
What's the
public
board's
hearing.
preference?
Let's let this go.
What do you want to do?
Let's continue.
Hey, you're denying my due process right here.
No, we're discussing a recess.
No, we don't. We're not going back and forth. John,
What's your question?
do we recess or do we have to continue with this?
You can recess because you scheduled this meeting for half an hour, then reconvene, as you
Okay,
have suggested.
but we have to deal with the matter of the resolution at the board meeting.
You can adjourn that one and
Reconvene.
reconvene again.
Okay, we are in this meeting, public hearing is now recessed. We'll immediately start our 2:30 board meeting, and we will reconvene this after our board meeting. Sorry, folks.